So every week when we come together, we say our vision and mission together. And that's to remind us of why we're here, to remind us of why we're here as a community. But the bigger thing is to remind us of why we're here as human beings, as humanity. We can never do anything as a community that we're not willing to do individually. And so I want to talk today about what this really means and how we challenge ourselves as a community to follow through on this, to see this vision with everything we have, and to follow this mission, and then how we do it as individuals. So the vision at Unity of Farmers Branch, we see a world fully transformed through the spiritual awakening of all humanity to the one love that we are. So this presupposes a lot. First of all, if you don't believe that we are one love, then how can you support a vision where the world awakens to the one love that we are? So we might have to line up our beliefs. Can we school our thinking and our seeing so that we can actually see that as a possibility? And can we allow that to call us up as individuals to something higher and as a community to something higher? So I'm just going to parse it phrase at a time. At Unity of Farmers Branch, we made a decision last fall. We had been Church of One Love for many years because we believe in one love, and that was what the name was about. But unity also means one love. And in unity, with a capital U, we are a community among communities. And so there's power there. And we talked about it, and we realized, I always knew, because I came from Unity, that the teachings were the same. But we decided as a community to join the Unity movement and become Unity of Farmers Branch. We decided to take on that name. We decided to declare that we are a community that lives by those principles. So at Unity Farmers Branch, we see a world. We see. Challenge yourself. What do you see? Do you see clouds? Do you see sunshine? Do you see evil people doing terrible things everywhere? Or do you see kindness? I know, on this physical plane, it's both. But my point is, we get a choice as to what we concentrate our focus and our vision on. We get to choose what we see. So we choose to see not what is visible with the human eyes, because we know that's just outer stuff. We choose to see this truth that is deeper, the all possibility. That means limitlessness, eternity, infinity of God that resides within every single human being. A world, we see a world. We see a world. How are we seeing that world? Fully transformed. Think about it for a minute. To be fully transformed is a scary deal. Most of us don't want that. We want to change a little bit. We want things to get better. We don't want things to shut down and become something else altogether. Right? Transformation is when an egg becomes a chicken. You can't go back. Transformation is when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. You can't go back. And that caterpillar metaphor is kind of powerful, because when the caterpillar goes into its chrysalis or cocoon, it actually doesn't just start working on sprouting wings and getting prettier. It completely dissolves. It becomes like caterpillar soup. And from that soup, something totally new is made. It's miraculous. And I don't know about you, but I have been through times in my life where I was caterpillar soup. And it didn't feel good, and I didn't like it. But what emerged was a different me, a transformed me. And I got to tell you, right now, I feel like I'm entering the caterpillar soup. That's where I am right now. And because I've done it before, I trust that I will emerge transformed in some way that I can't necessarily see right now. But I can trust that it's there. I can see with those eyes that I'm talking to you about, those eyes of the all possibility of God, those eyes of love. So we see a world fully transformed, not partially transformed. If everybody would just be a little nicer, or even changed, because we can change and then go back. Change is, I lost 10 pounds, then I can always gain that back. Or I gained 10 pounds and then I lost it back. Whatever. That's changed. But fully transformed means it's unpredictable and it requires our courage. It requires our courage. So are you courageous? Because if you want to see a world fully transformed, if you want to allow yourself to be truly transformed, that takes courage, y'all. This isn't easy, pretty stuff. Are you willing to go into the soup? Fully transformed through the spiritual awakening. I just want to talk about the word through for a minute, because we are not individual pieces. We are all conduits through which the one works. When we close off either end of a conduit, it's no longer a conduit, it's a limited vessel. And so when we close down, we can stop being conduits. We can stop allowing the love of God to flow through us. And we see evidence of that with our outer eyes. And if we're honest, we see evidence of that within ourselves. You know, I want to be a conduit for you to experience divine love, but not you. I don't like what you're doing. You know, we do that with our judgments, So this idea of through, and through is about a process, not a zap, now you're there, right? Through the spiritual awakening. That means we have to engage in what is going on as it's happening in real time, through the spiritual awakening, So I Googled this, and here's what AI said about it. Spiritual awakening is a profound shift in consciousness, thoughts, emotions, ego. It fundamentally changes your worldview, replacing conditioned beliefs with a deeper connection to inner self and a broader sense of universal unity. Ooh, a spiritual awakening. We were asleep before. We didn't see clearly. We didn't know. And then we wake up and we see things completely differently. That's the spiritual awakening. You know, we look around, we see people treating each other poorly, we see mass shootings. I'm here to tell you, no one ever treated someone else poorly because they woke up that morning and went, I feel great. I know that I am the love of God in action, and I can feel God's love with me all the time. Nothing bad ever came out of that. So we have to assume that when we see the evidence, the outer evidence of bad actions in the world, that comes from a place where people do not know who they are. They have not awakened to the truth of who they are. And can you see how when we exercise our judgments, well, you're not awake, obviously, we don't leave room for them to awaken. But if we dare to use our courage and the strength of our convictions to see even a glimpse, to just even glimpse the possibility that that person is actually a conduit of the perfect love of God, just as I am. Just as I am. When we can see that, when we can allow space for them to spiritually awaken. Ram Dass talks about not about healing people. You don't heal. If you're a healer, you don't heal people. What you do is become an environment in which the natural healing of God can take place. Not create an environment, although we do that, we create environments, but to become an environment. To become something, to create something means to change something. To become something means to transform. To become an environment in which this awakening can take place. Have you tried that? Have you tried I challenge you to try it with, not Hitler, right? Not the worst thing you can think of, but with a neighbor who annoys you, perhaps. Or with your sister who just bugs you when she calls you on the phone, or whatever, right? To just go, okay, I am willing in this moment, in this phone call, in this exchange on the street, for this moment, I'm going to breathe deeply, and I'm going to understand that I'm breathing the love of God, that is actually what I'm breathing, because God is everywhere, all present. And the power of God runs through us at all times. It's what animates us. We wouldn't be breathing if it wasn't for the love of God as breath going through us. So I'm going to breathe in consciously all the God I can breathe in, and I'm going to allow that to let me see the possibility to create something in me, to help me become a place that it is safe for another to transform, that it's safe for somebody to do something different from what they've ever done before, or understand something different from what they've ever understood before. So the first thing that happens when we become an environment where healing can take place is we heal ourselves. Don't think you're going to heal anybody else until you've healed yourself. To the degree that you heal, that's the degree to which you can become an environment of healing for others, right? Not saying if you're not completely healed, you can't do any healing. I'm saying to the degree that you are healed, that's the degree to which you can become a healer for others, environment of healing for others. To the degree that you can love yourself, that is the end of the degree to which you can love another. If you're able to love yourself this much, then you can love another this much. If you're only loving yourself this much, don't expect to be able to love others more than that. So this is about really personal responsibility. This is about, am I willing to transform? What am I willing to become? Because if I'm not willing to become it, if I just want the world to transform so everything is like more convenient for me, easier for me, if everybody would just be easier to love, I would love everybody. If those people would stop doing what they're doing, then I could love them. I can't even stop doing what I'm doing. How am I going to get them to stop doing what they're doing? So then I put the focus back on me. What is it that I'm doing that I know would be better for me to stop? And I don't judge myself for that, and I don't blame myself for that. I just take a look at it and go, oh, I am willing to allow that to be healed through the love of God that lives and moves and has its being in me. I don't have to do anything. I have to allow. I have to become. So the spiritual awakening, can we see? Can we awaken? I'm going to read this again. Profound shift in consciousness, thoughts, emotions, and ego that fundamentally changes our worldview, replacing conditioned belief, what we've always been taught is true. These people are good, those people are bad, don't mess with the bad people, right? Conditioned beliefs, and a deeper connection to inner self. That's a spiritual awakening, a deeper connection to who I actually am, and a broader sense of universal unity, a broader sense that who I am is who everybody is, that we are in a very, very real way one. So through the spiritual awakening of all humanity, right? Wow, are we willing to open our minds that much? Because I suspect that we go, well, those people, if they just understood a little bit better, they'd probably transform. But these people are hopeless. It's just not going to happen, right? Can we just hold the possibility? We don't have to make it happen, but we have to hold the possibility, or there's no space for it to happen. All humanity, not who we like, not who we can look at right now and imagine, oh yeah, you could, All. Can we open to all people? Can we show up for all people? Can we recognize that all people have that within them. In the Jewish religion, and especially in the mystical Jewish traditions of Kabbalah, there is a tenet called the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. And it is the belief that in every generation, there are at least 36 people, hidden righteous people, just normal people. They're not the Gandhis. They're the ones at the grocery store. Just normal, hidden righteous people. They live among the ordinary, unhonored masses, and their collective merit, humanity, and divine connection sustain the world and prevent its destruction. This belief that just 36 people who've got it going on can save the rest of us. Isn't that a beautiful idea? And I think it's grounded in truth. I don't know. I can't count the 36. I don't know where that number came from. I'm sure it has to do with not literally 36, but with some multiple of something. You know, that's kind of the way those numbers work. But the idea is that it doesn't take a lot of transformation to transform the whole thing. It doesn't take a lot. So can I be one of those 36 people? Or can I do my darndest to be one of those 36 people? We see a world fully transformed through the spiritual awakening of all humanity to the one love that we are. So the crux of this is if we don't believe that's who we are, how are we going to hold that vision for anyone else? So really, start at the end and work backwards. The one love. Do we believe? If we don't believe, we can't see. I read a poem last week from Mary Oliver, and my favorite line in the poem is this: "Only if there are angels in your head will you ever possibly see one." Right? You don't have to have the whole thing. You don't have to believe it entirely with every fiber of your being. But can you hold it as a possibility? Can you keep your mind open? When it wants to slam shut, can you go, no, I'm going to keep it open. I'm not ready. I may not believe yet that all this is one love. It doesn't look like love to me. But I'm going to hold the possibility that it actually is. I don't always feel like love. Often I don't. But I'm going to hold the possibility that that's actually the fundamental truth of who I am. And if I can hold that for me, even for a short period of time, then I can begin to hold it for you. And when I can hold it for you and we can hold it for each other, then we are the 36. We are the people who transform the world, because that's all it takes. The only way to transform the world is by transforming ourselves. And when enough people transform, a tipping point will have been reached. And it'll all fall like dominoes. I believe that. That belief sustains me. So that's our vision. That's just what we hold as true. And I've heard people say to me like, well, that's a really tall order. That's probably not going to happen in our lifetime, So how do I hold that? Well, you hold it as possibility, You hold it as possibility. Do you buy lottery tickets? Some part of you believes that you could possibly win, or you wouldn't buy them. I don't buy lottery tickets. There's no part of me that believes I'll possibly win. So guess what? I can tell you right now, I will never win the lottery. Because I never buy a ticket, because I don't hold that possibility. So I've completely cut off that possibility by what I'm doing. Can you simply hold open the possibility? Can you buy a lottery ticket of the world? Can you hold that open? Only if there are angels in your head, only if you believe that it could possibly be true, can you ever possibly see it come true. So we hold this vision even though it feels really out of reach. And that's the point of a vision. If you're doing a vision statement for a company, the idea is that you're holding something that's, if it's just like, yeah, my vision is that by next Thursday we're gonna all be a little nicer, right? We can do that, and then we have to come up with a new vision statement, or we stagnate, by next Thursday. A vision statement is something to continually reach for. Our mission, though, is what we do. Now, I've told you a lot of things that we can do just in order to be able to hold that vision. And then our mission is what we are committed to as a community and as individuals. We are an inclusive spiritual community, teaching unconditional love, inspiring personal transformation, celebrating diversity, and engaging in compassionate action for the greater good of all. We are an inclusive spiritual community. We're claiming it, right? We are. Because if we aren't, then humanity cannot be. This is our buying the lottery ticket. We hold that we are that. And when we hold even the possibility that we are that, we now have a ticket that allows us the possibility of winning it all. And if we don't as individuals, then humanity never will. Because guess what? You're part of humanity. Yeah. So we take personal responsibility. That's really what the spiritual path is. It's taking personal responsibility. It's not hoping that something out there will change so we can feel better in here. It's going, what is mine to do? What is mine to do to see what I believe or to see what I hope is true come to fruition in the world? We, all of us, each one of us, are, from the verb to be, like we are, not we will become, not we will be, but we are an inclusive spiritual community. So what does inclusive mean? Obviously, we are very enlightened and liberal people. We welcome people of all colors. We welcome people of all sexual orientations, of all genders, of all gender identities. We welcome you, whatever your nationality, whatever language you speak, whatever religion you come from. But are we completely inclusive? How do we feel when a homeless person walks through the back door and doesn't smell so good and sits down with us? Now, I got to say, this community usually responds pretty positively to that and welcomes people in, and I'm so proud of y'all for that. I really am. We are living our mission. I'm just not just preaching at you about what you need to do. I'm seeing in you this come to fruition, right? But who is it that you exclude? What about the guy with the MAGA hat that comes in? You going to welcome him in the same way that you welcome somebody that believes in your political beliefs, or conversely, the guy with the other, whatever it is, whatever your beliefs are, when someone comes in and displays that their beliefs are the opposite of yours, how do you welcome that? Are you including or are you excluding? Because we exclude people all the time. When we first, poor Jordan, I'm going to use her. When we first hired Jordan, who many of you don't know her, she's my administrative assistant, and she's usually in her office running the Facebook feed while we do the service because there's a lag. It's very disturbing to sit in and watch something live and then the however many second lag that's going on. So she's in her office. But the first day that Jordan came, let's just say it was a shock to some people. She has tattoos all over. She has piercings in places that most of us are not pierced. She's way younger than almost all of us. Thank God, because she knows how to do stuff. But believe it or not, there were a couple of people in the community that went, are you sure this is a good idea? Are you sure this is a good idea? And I was like, no, I've interviewed her. I'm sure this is a good idea. This is my new administrative assistant. So whatever prejudices you have, you need to get over it because she's here. That's what she's doing. But that's, yeah. But what do you do to exclude? You know, maybe tattoos aren't what make you exclude people. Maybe it's somebody that looks like a good old boy, or somebody that looks like your dad if you didn't have a good relationship with your dad. Who are you excluding? Who might you exclude? Who do you need to open your heart to include so that we can declare truly that we are an inclusive spiritual community? Because if anybody excludes anybody, then we're not entirely inclusive. We are an inclusive spiritual community, meaning we're a community way beyond the physical. It's great when we gather here in person, but guess what? If you are part of this community, you're part of this community when you're at the HEB, or when you're in your own garage, or when you're walking the streets. You are part of this community because we are beyond a physical community. We are a spiritual community. We are connected. The definition of a spiritual community, or one definition, is people who are connected through teachings and beliefs, through fellowship with one another, through support of one another. So we're an inclusive spiritual community, which means you don't just include people when you come into the sanctuary on Sunday morning. You practice including people when you're at the gas station and when you're on the highway at rush hour and when you're in the grocery store and people are bumping your cart. How do we include? Because if we're going to be an inclusive spiritual community, that means all the time, not just every once in a while. We are connected through teachings. What are we teaching? Unconditional love. How are we teaching it? I say, we should love unconditionally. Does that transform anybody? The only way we can ever teach unconditional love is to love somebody unconditionally. And that is hard. It's not easy. It's hard. It's hard. People come up to you and you go, you got conditions all over you. I'm trying to love you, but you got this and this and this. It's making it hard for me. So is that something for them to change? No, that's something for me to change, because those are my conditions. They're not their conditions. They're my conditions. So can I love unconditionally? Because no matter what, no matter who, if I'm willing to love, then I am teaching unconditional love. People that you love conditionally are learning conditional love. People that you love unconditionally are learning unconditional love. We are inspiring personal transformation. To inspire something means to breathe life into it. Inspire personal transformation. That's my job description, is to try to awaken, not to tell you something you don't already know. You know everything I say before I say it. But to awaken a recognition in you of something that already lives in you so that you go, oh yeah, that's who I am. That's who I really am. So whatever conditions are in my life, I have the possibility of actually transforming them into something different. Inspiring personal transformation, because the big shift of everybody comes in individual shifts, and it's all our responsibility. We're celebrating diversity, not tolerating diversity, but celebrating diversity. Like, wow, you believe completely differently from I do? Yay! Look at the infinite variety of human experience. Isn't it cool that I get to be in the presence of that? Isn't that what you say when you meet someone who voted differently from you? Yeah. Woo! That's a tall order. Celebrating diversity. Thank God we don't all think exactly the same thoughts. And maybe when you're able to start celebrating that diversity, you can realize perhaps, not for sure, But perhaps there's a reason that you think like you do, and perhaps I may not be 100% entirely right in the things that I believe. And perhaps you might not be 100% entirely wrong in the things that you believe. And perhaps only when both of us open up at least a little percentage to one another, only then will we actually have unity. And it's both our jobs, but I can't say it's your job. You unify with me first. It's our job. It's always an inside job. Celebrating diversity and engaging in compassionate action. We are here to be kind. I mean, yes, as a community, there are things that we volunteer for, some causes that we believe in, that we sign up for, and we go out and we put feet to our prayers. And that's very important. And it's important that we do that as individuals. What do you believe in? What are you willing to put your feet behind? But simply to just be kind, to practice the truth that we know, makes us one of the 36. Do you want to be one of the 36? So I'm going to leave you with some quotes from Jesus, who was pretty good at unconditional love, because his disciples just drove him crazy. And he loved them anyway. This is in John. When they have finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord," he said. "You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." Again, Jesus said, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" And he answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." And Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." And the third time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" And he said, "Lord, you know all things, so you know that I love you." And Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." If you love me, that's not what it's about. If you love me, you better love everybody, because everybody is me. And everybody is you. One more quote from the Christ in Matthew. "Whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." You did for me. Thank you. So let's just do an arrow prayer. I talked for a long time. Imagine that. When I interviewed for this job over 8 years ago, the board asked me and the search team, "So what are you," because, we're talking about what my qualifications are, "what are you not good at?" And I went, "Brevity is not my gift." So let's just take a moment to settle into the presence of each other, which is the presence of God. Breathe that in. Because I'm sitting next to you, I understand that I am in the presence of God. I am willing to know the God that is you, that lives and breathes and has its being through you. And because I know that that presence is the truth of you, I can accept that that presence is the truth of me. And in this moment, whatever resistance comes up to God is here sitting right next to me, God is here sitting right in my seat, because you may have some resistance to that. You don't have to fix it. Just go, look at that. And allow the love of God to come through and heal it, simply by breathing through it. Know that every breath you take is evidence of the love of God. God living you, God breathing you. I have indeed come to be in the presence of God, and I've come here to be in the presence of God so that when I leave here, I can know that I am never outside of the presence of God. If I'm the only one in the car, I'm in the presence of God. If I'm in the middle of a traffic jam, I am in the presence of God in many, many, many forms. When I go home to my family members, I am in the presence of God. And when we begin to train ourselves to know, I'm never not in the presence of God. So what am I so worried about? What am I judging for? We begin to become an environment in which all healing can happen, in which others can begin to know the truth of who they are, the truth of the one love. I am that one love. You are that one love. We are that one love. And so we simply, again, breathe in the truth of that. Allow that breath as oxygen molecules to go through every single cell of our being, nourishing it in that truth. I am living the love of God as me. What a relief. I thought I was something else. Today, for this moment, I remember who I am. And I pledge to remember in every moment that I possibly can remind myself or allow myself to be reminded by others that, oh yeah, that's who I am. And when I know that's who I am, then I know that's who you are. And I get to walk around, not just in the presence of God, but conscious and aware that I am in the presence of God. All is holy. All is whole. All is one. And so it is. Amen.